All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce, and we have a special guest here, sort of in the cave, not so much in the cave, but a special guest I'm excited for today. We have a very good friend of mine who's not yet been on an episode, Mr. Sean Murphy. We're going to tell you who he is in a minute. The rock guru, the prince of reggaeton, the godfather of go-go, the minister of music, the royal king of Rush, the sultan of swing, the ayatollah of rock and rolla. Roll to the rock to the roll. Mr. Sean Murphy, how the heck are you?
Oh, wow. I did not realize all my honorary titles. So
that's a lot to live up to, isn't
I
it?
bow to your wisdom, though.
Right.
So
that's a lot to live up to, isn't it? You've never heard any of those things
you are
you before, have you?
the spelunker of the rock cave.
Right. Sean Murphy coming to you from Florida. Sean Murphy, who are you to me? We met in high school in probably, or was it, we probably met, did we meet at that? We knew of each other at the concert we're going to talk about on Song of the Day, but
I'm trying to think. We met your junior year, I think. Did you go to my junior prom by any chance, or anything like that, or my senior? Well, I don't know. I think that might have been.
Yes,
that might have been later or something like that. I went to your junior prom.
You went to my junior prom.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I went to 3 senior banquets. So sophomore. Yeah, so I did go to I went to your senior banquet. So that began.
And I did graduate eventually.
Right, eventually. That began a pretty awesome musical journey for the two of us. We just really hit it off when it came to music. I brought to the table a lot of my fun and weird stuff. You, first of all, in high school, just known as the perfect ultimate Rush fan, right? Huge fan of Rush. You're the biggest fan of Rush
I was a fan of a lot of music. I've always been a fan of a lot of music. But I just remember the first time that I ever heard, I think it was 8th grade. I want to say that somebody came into the gym in middle school with a boombox and played Tom Sawyer from the beginning, and I was like, "What in the world is that?" And so that was my introduction to Rush. But they had, I want to say, Permanent Waves, Moving Pictures, Signals, three back to back albums that were just fantastic. So
yes, and then
that was right at the time I was getting into high school and all that. So
you tried to sell me on the Rush, and I was always a somewhat willing participant, but never fully in. And you'd be like, "Mark, listen to this song, The Trees." The Trees, right? Don't they have a song called The Trees? You're like, The Trees.
They do, and it's an amazing. I mean, it's really much bigger than just being about trees, obviously.
Right.
But
and did you ever see them in concert?
I saw their Signals tour, and then I saw Hold Your Fire tour, I think, which was then a couple more albums after that. So I actually, one of the few bands that I've ever seen twice in concert.
Nice. But obviously you're a fan of a lot of music like I am, and you had a huge cassette collection like I did. I remember that cassette collection of yours. We were big fans of Pink Floyd together, right? We spent a lot of time talking about. Speaking of Pink Floyd, by the way, we're filming this episode. This is for later use, but today, July 21st, is the 46th anniversary of the release of Animals in the UK and Europe. FYI, 1977 on this day, just to let you know that. But we were big fans of Wish You Were Here. That was a great, listen to that particular album a lot.
Amazing.
Yeah, and we
Dark Side.
Yeah, Dark Side, and we needed a reason to say several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave with a pick.
I thought they were grooving with a pick.
What did I say? Gathered together? Grooving together with a pick. I tried to say that really fast. Gathered together, grooving. See? What else do we got for you? You introduced me to a lot of music. You introduced me to Yaz. How the heck did you ever hear Yaz? Where did you hear Yaz?
That's a great question. I don't know if I heard it on the radio for the first time, but it's just a very unique sound.
Yeah,
And um, so, yes, it is. Yes. So,
yeah,
so that was just interesting. I got the album and I just listened to all the songs and over and over.
yep. You also introduced me to this record. I knew who Thomas Dolby was, but I didn't know this record. I don't know. I think you probably bought this used just because, maybe, and then did you hear something off of this first? This is an amazing record. It's one of our all-time favorite records. Nobody has this record, and we just fell in love with these songs. But do you know how you
Well,
found them?
I don't remember exactly, but of course, She Blinded Me with Science is what I think most people remember about Thomas Dolby, and that was always it was always just a fun, quirky, sort of goofy song that I liked. And I have a feeling that when I just saw the album cover, I want to say, and I thought, holy cow, that's hilarious. So it was probably used, and it was a few bucks, but I thought I'll I'll give it a go.
Yes,
And yeah, I don't remember hearing any music off of that
because you would
from
never have.
another
No
source.
one would have ever played it anywhere. I think you were always one for value, and you were willing to take risks, and that's what it is. And we end up with the Key to Her Ferrari, Airhead, Hot Sauce, My Brain is Like a Sieve, which was my theme song as a goalie. My goalie's like a sieve. Also, what else we got? We got Steve Stevens and the Atomic Playboys. That's Billy Idol's guitarist, right? That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah, didn't we both buy that at the same time? And then we talked to each other and were like, hey, we got this awesome new album. And
Yes, and sometimes we bought it strictly for the covers of it. We knew who it was, but the cover was awesome. Big Electric Cat, that was you. Where did you hear Big Electric Cat? No idea. That's
my roommate. That was my roommate in college. I can't say that I was a huge fan, but
not a very good song.
I just walked.
Great name.
I just walked into my dorm room one day and I just heard some sort of
A lot of noise.
awful noise, and I just heard somebody going, "Big electric cat, big electric cat," and I said, I kept listening and listening, and finally asked him, "Is he saying big electric cat?" He's like, "Yep." So,
And that's the only line to the
that
song,
was it.
I think. It's the only line to the song. Right?
Right. Well, I got to hear it many, many times before I finally took a chance on what he was actually saying. But
Right. And then you would always go to record stores, you'd be Mark, Peter Murphy, Peter Murphy. And I don't even know if you listened to Peter Murphy. You just liked his name was Peter Murphy. It turns out, fast forward, I get satellite radio. They play a Peter Murphy song, Cuts You Up. And I love this song now. I absolutely love it. And I'm like, wait, did Sean Murphy know that song then? Or was it just because it was Peter Murphy? And like, if I was played that song then, wouldn't I have liked it? Because I like it so much now, but I don't remember it. Did you ever listen to Peter Murphy?
I don't know that I did very much.
Right.
As a DJ in college, so we had access to, racks and racks of actual records, and so I might have found something in there and listened to it. The big thing was just when I'd go to a record store, I'd look for my last name somewhere, flip through the. And
Right.
I actually like found a Murphy in there. There was like Eddie Murphy in the comedy section, and then there was Peter Murphy,
Hmm.
and that was
The Dropkick Murphy.
anyway. What's that?
The Dropkick Murphys. That's ska band. You wouldn't have
No,
seen
that's much more recent.
it. Got it.
I was
And
not flipping through used CDs looking for the Dropkick Murphys.
right. And then another favorite story, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Huge fan. You introduced me to Damn the Torpedoes. I had not heard that record. You had that cassette, and
Amazing,
yeah,
amazing album. Yeah,
and I can picture it to this day. You had a Volkswagen Rabbit. It was a 1979,
1980, I want to say.
80.
Yeah,
And
1980.
front wheel drive little cars, and we get on an 84. It goes because you 84 going out to a record store or somewhere. And for whatever reason, we were playing that cassette that day, and this music was so good. And I just remember playing that whole thing and being like, every single song is good. And that car loved this music so much. It was like it was going faster and faster, and you're like, something's going on with this car. It's like running so smooth right now. and you just go a little faster and faster, and you're like, we're going for it, and we went right past our exit, and you made it to 100, just 100, I think.
Yeah, but there were no torpedoes either, so that was really good.
100, and then we had to cut the engine and stop before something happened. But you introduced me to a ton of music, which is awesome, and you introduced me to used CDs. We were not selling used CDs in Connecticut. You had them in Florida. You'd be like, I bought it used. I bought it used. And I was like, what? Why would you buy a used CD? You're like, Mark, it's half the price and it's just as good. And you were right. Sean Murphy was right again.
And then you went on to have what sort of a history with used CDs?
I bought thousands of them. At one point, I think I had about 2,000 used CDs. Yeah, working in record stores and all that. Yeah.
And you purchased them at bargain basement prices.
Yep, absolutely. So many things that I owe to you. I think I have one more.
I never got them as cheap as you did.
Yeah, well, I have one more prop in here that you gave to me when you were cleaning out your house. You gave this to me. You found it in your attic. And who remembers these mirrors that you could get at the Big E or whatever? If you threw three darts in a balloon or something, and you found that in your attic, and it's in its rightful place here in a rock cave. It's like where it's meant to be.
Awesome. Very good.
Yeah, so that's who Sean Murphy is, people. We just so much music growing up. AC/DC, we didn't even cover that. Plenty of that.
In the factory.
Yeah. And one other thing we do to keep in contact in college, because there was no such thing as computers or anything like that, is we would make cassette tapes for each other. This is one of yours right here in my hand that you sent to me. We would record and we would just make funny jokes and talk to people and play music and whatever came up, and then we would mail it. And we have a bunch of these back and forth that are hysterical now. But those were always a lot of fun. So yeah. So that's Sean Murphy in a nutshell as far as who you are. We're going to record a song of the day next. But I love catching up with people and talking about music and everything else. And again, Sean Murphy, I owe a lot to you in my musical journey. So I appreciate you on today. We're going to switch gears. We're going to end this segment, and then we're going to record our song of the day next. So stay tuned for that, people. We'll be right back. Thanks, Sean, for being on the show today.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
All right. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.